She was one of the richest women in America. A self-made billionaire, she had everything money could buy: luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and a life most people could only dream of. But on this rainy Thursday evening, she wasn't thinking about stocks, investments, or board meetings. She was thinking about her son, Jamie. She wanted to spend some quality time with him, away from the endless buzz of business calls and social obligations. So, she decided to take him to a small, cozy diner on the outskirts of town, an ordinary place she had never visited before. As they walked through the door, the smell of fresh bread and sizzling bacon wrapped around them like a warm hug. Jamie's eyes lit up as he took in the booths, the jukebox playing old songs, and the friendly chatter of families enjoying their meals. It was simple. It was real. And for the first time in weeks, she felt normal. They settled into a corner booth, chatting and laughing, the storm outside forgotten. But then, something happened that would change the rest of their evening, and maybe even their lives. Before we dive in, if you love stories about real human kindness, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Here on Kindness World, we celebrate the little moments that make the world brighter. While waiting for their food, her eyes wandered around the diner, as they often did. That's when she noticed him, a man in his mid-30s, wearing a worn-out jacket, sitting at the counter with his young daughter perched on his lap. He looked exhausted, like he had just come from a long, hard day of work. His daughter clung to him, swinging her tiny legs, and he was trying to keep her entertained with funny faces and whispers. There was no pretense, no glamour. Just love. Pure, simple, and real. She felt a pang in her heart. She remembered nights like those when Jamie was little, tired and hungry, clinging to her after a long day. Money could buy comfort, sure, but it couldn't buy the kind of resilience, patience, and love she was seeing in that man. Something about him, his quiet strength, his gentle way of caring for his daughter, stirred something deep inside her. Her son noticed her staring. "Mom, what's wrong?" Jamie asked. "Nothing, sweetie," she replied softly. "Just thinking." But she couldn't stop thinking. She watched him fumble through the diner menu, trying to balance his daughter on his knee while keeping track of their orders. She overheard snippets of his conversation with the waitress. He was working 2 jobs to make ends meet, barely keeping up with bills, yet he never once complained. Every word he said to his daughter was filled with warmth and encouragement. And then, the moment that changed everything happened. The waitress came over with the man's check. He opened his wallet slowly, counted the bills, and then frowned. It wasn't enough. His daughter squirmed on his lap, giggling, oblivious to the worry in his eyes. She could feel the weight of his struggle in the air. Without thinking, she stood up. She walked over to the counter, her heart pounding. She leaned down and whispered something to the waitress. A few moments later, the man looked up, utterly confused, as the waitress handed him his paid bill. "Excuse me, ma'am. I don't understand," he stammered. She smiled warmly. "Consider it a little help from someone who believes in you. You're doing an amazing job." He blinked, stunned. His daughter looked up at her, eyes wide. And then, slowly, his shoulders relaxed, and tears welled up in his eyes. "Thank you. I don't know what to say," he whispered. "You don't need to say anything," she replied. "Just keep being the incredible dad you are. That's enough." She returned to her booth, Jamie looking at her with wide eyes. "Mom, that was, wow." Jamie didn't fully understand why strangers sometimes help each other, but he understood the feeling, the warmth in his chest, the way the world suddenly seemed a little kinder. As they finished their meal, she noticed the man and his daughter leaving the diner. He was holding her hand a little tighter, smiling a little brighter. Something about that simple act of kindness had lifted a burden off his shoulders, even if just for a night. She realized then that kindness wasn't about grand gestures or public recognition. It wasn't about wealth or status. It was about noticing someone else's struggle, feeling it in your heart, and doing something, even the smallest thing, to make it better. Jamie leaned against her, sleepy but happy. "Mom, can we do that again sometime?" "Help someone?" he asked. She hugged him tightly. "Of course, sweetie. Every time we can." That night, as they drove home through the rain-slicked streets, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. The kind that comes from knowing you've made a real difference in someone's life. The kind that can't be bought, only shared. She began to reflect on her life, on how easy it was to get caught up in wealth and success, and how rarely she took the time to see people for who they really were. That man at the diner had reminded her of something she had almost forgotten, that every person carries a story, a struggle, a fight that isn't always visible. And the smallest act of kindness, paying a bill, offering a smile, listening, could change the course of their day, maybe even their life. Over the next few weeks, she made it a point to notice. To step out of her luxury bubble and connect with ordinary people doing extraordinary things every single day. She and Jamie started volunteering at local shelters, leaving little notes of encouragement in grocery stores, and even paying for meals for strangers when they could. Each act reminded them that the world, despite its chaos, could be profoundly good. And it wasn't just about giving money. It was about connection, empathy, and love. She realized that the joy she felt watching that man's face light up was worth more than any deal or stock market win she had ever experienced. That night, at a small diner in a quiet corner of town, she had discovered a truth more valuable than anything her wealth could buy: kindness doesn't cost much, but it changes everything. Years later, Jamie would tell this story to his friends, wide-eyed and smiling, about the night his mom taught him what true generosity looked like. And the man at the diner? Though they never saw each other again, he remembered her kindness for the rest of his life, telling his daughter that there are good people in the world who show up when you need it most. So, what can we learn from a billionaire who took her son to dinner and changed a stranger's life with a single, heartfelt act? That kindness is contagious, powerful, and transformative. That noticing someone's struggle and responding with compassion can ripple through lives in ways we can't even imagine. And most importantly, that no matter who you are or what you have, there's always an opportunity to make the world a little brighter. If you take anything from this story, let it be this: look for chances to help, to uplift, and to love without expecting anything in return. Because one small gesture, one moment of true kindness, can change a life forever.